Daily Detroit is made possible by our listeners. Local media requires local support. So join us at patreon.com/Daily Detroit. Hello, friends, and welcome to your Daily Detroit, sharing what to know and where to go. I am Jer Stays. It is a beautiful day here in the Motor City, and today's episode is a very special one for Monday, August 18th, 2025. Shea Whitfield, star of the show Bargain Block, longtime Detroit realtor. We have a great conversation for you lined up. Let's hop into it. Joining me here at the studio at Tech Town, I am very honored to have none other than the vivacious Shea Whitfield to my left. Welcome to Daily Detroit. I have been a longtime watcher of your stuff. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, and I'm excited to have you because Bargain Block to me showcases so much of what's good about our city. And one of the things I loved about it from the very get-go, it wasn't about the most fanciest houses in the world. Some of those houses that Keith and Evan got into were reverse fancy.
You know what? I'm going to use that the next time I describe one of these dilapidated houses. Reverse fancy. I'm still in that.
And you all added life and then also made it happen, sold these houses out, got residents into town. How did you become involved with Bargain Block? Because quiet as the kept, I think it's you who makes the show. No offense to Keith and Evan. They're always welcome to come by, but I think it's you who makes the show.
Thank you. Thank you. So as a realtor, I've been a realtor in Detroit for a very long time, officially 21 years now. So back then it was maybe 16 years, 15, 16 years. And the guys had transplanted here from Colorado. And they were renovating dilapidated homes on Detroit's west side. And I caught wind of it. It was a news article. I'm like, this is so cool. I love what these guys are doing. They're doing this in neighborhoods that have been long gone, forgotten about, homes that's been sitting forever. And so they were working with an agent from the suburbs. And we had a mutual friend that said, you know what? You guys would work well together. You know all things Detroit and surrounding areas. And I believe you would be a good fit. We met, and all three of us had little heart eyes for each other. We met at Good Times on the west side for a happy hour. Yep. And so we just connected, and it's been a vibe ever since. And they're like, oh, we did shoot a pilot for this show where it shows us renovating the homes. Is that something you would be interested in? And I'm like, it sounds fun. I had no idea it would be what it is. And yeah, it just took off from there. And it's just been I've had the most fun because I get along with people. I'm a people person and I'm in sales. So it's not always necessarily easy for me to connect, but I connect with people. But it's just something about those two where we just had an instant love for each other. And the chemistry that we have that you see on screen is very sincere. That's just who we are.
Well, and your presence and your commentary help root the show in a different way, right?
Thank you.
It's you can't be Detroit without someone like you.
Thank you.
And
I agree. I feel like it does help that I was born and raised here, and I was born and raised in a neighborhood that is one of those neighborhoods now. So that's why it's very dear and near to my heart to see the guys make these homes that's been sitting for 10, 15, 20 years to make them beautiful again and providing that generational wealth for first-time buyers. I see investor flips all the time, but the level of love and care and attention to detail that Keith and Evan apply to these homes, making them so beautiful. And a lot of the buyers, their grandparents still live in these neighborhoods. They were raised in these neighborhoods. So to be able to come back and also have value, increasing the value of their family that's still there, it just means a lot. And a lot of them are first-time home buyers. It's been very touching. And I can say I've shed a tear more than 100 times, either from seeing the before and after, to see how much they put into these homes and furnished and making them beautiful, to homeowners literally saying, I never dreamed I could own a home.
You're a very talented person. Why stay? Why did you stay in Detroit?
Detroit that's my home. That's my everything. And even for a very short stint in high school, I even was able to stay at Cody High School. My mom got remarried and moved to Southfield, and she didn't make me leave my school. She let me go and stay at Cody High School, and I graduated from Cody High School. But I'm like a Detroiter near and dear. I love the hustle and bustle. I love the art scene, the restaurant scene. I love our riverfront, our downtown. There's so much to love about Detroit. And as my mom was a single mom coming up, and I was very close to her dad, my grandpa. And he would literally take me downtown to teach me like about different architecture, ride through beautiful neighborhoods to show me how Detroit has all these beautiful neighborhoods and they change from block to block. So it's just always been in me to just like have a true love for my city.
So we're now on what, season 5, I think,
Technically,
of Bargain Block.
yes.
Technically,
4.5, 5.
5. We're going to claim that.
Claim it.
What have you learned in these 5 seasons that you didn't know before? Right, because you have a lot of context. What has doing Bargain Block taught you?
I would say it has taught me, first of all, just how TV works. Like that was very interesting to learn in season 1, to see how like it requires us to film so many hundreds of hours of TV for a very, very short clip, because you got to think it's a home renovation show. So there's only so much footage they can get of the before, the during, and then, of course, after we can always come back. But there's a lot of filming to equal out to 1 hour programming, which is 44 minutes. So learning how TV works and just how people gravitated towards us is just amazing. Like, we're very familiar, and because we are who we are in real life and on TV, people feel like we're their friends or family members.
And neighbors,
and
honestly.
neighbors. And like from being downtown Detroit at the Eastern Market, to being at the local grocery store, to being in Palm Springs, California, the Dominican Republic, I've met fans literally everywhere. And people would just grab me like, oh my God, Shea, like just so much love. And it's like, I can't even explain it. It's the best.
All right. I need a secret. It doesn't have to be a big secret. What's something that a longtime viewer of the show wouldn't know?
Let me think. A secret. Keith really loves sweets, but I think that is not a secret.
If he likes sweets, what do we bribe Keith with?
Anything with sprinkles. He likes sprinkles. But I would say maybe something viewers may not realize is like, even though Keith is the designer and the artist, that he's very open to, if I make a recommendation and I'll say, well, these days buyers are really into this because I show buyers homes and I know what they love. Or even if Evan has a really good artistic idea, like he's open to our suggestions and ideas. So I feel like that may be a little secret, but I can't think of anything. Oh, I can say that like a lot of the jokes that you probably don't see on TV may be slightly inappropriate because we are silly. So I'll say sometimes we get a little weird, but I mean, who doesn't love a weird friend?
Maybe you all need a podcast on the block after dark.
On the block after dark, because in our tagline was it gets weird.
One of the things that I love about your presence on the show is that you're an actual realtor. Like,
I am.
This isn't an act, right?
Exactly.
And you've been selling Detroit homes for a number of years.
Yes.
So when you approach the Detroit market, whether it's City of Detroit or Metro Detroit, what are you thinking about in recent years, and what are you seeing out there?
So currently, right now in today's market, buyers are still buying. It seems more geared toward homes that are selling quicker, less days on market, are more that entry-level buyers. So homes under $300,000, they've been moving pretty quickly. But like my higher-end listings are homes, which in Michigan, homes priced above $500,000 move slower because that's a huge investment. But I can say since the election, homes that are priced higher are moving a lot slower.
Okay. When you're dealing with your clients, we've had so much interest in moving to Detroit recently. What are folks who are moving to Detroit looking for? And then secondly, what would be advice you have for someone looking for a place in Detroit?
So in real estate, I got my start working in the downtown condo market. So I always worked with a lot of buyers who were coming here to relocate because a lot of times if you're relocating to Detroit is for work. So I have a lot of experience there with people transplanting or relocating here. But since the show, I feel like I've gotten a lot more buyers who are looking for that neighborhood feel, and they're surprised that you can get that in the city of Detroit. If you're moving from, like, I've had a lot of buyers move from the West Coast, and they are astonished when they see how much house they can get with the square footage and the baths and bedrooms and the nice, beautiful yard for their kid and their dog. So they're always very surprised at the price point of our homes and how much bang they can get for their buck.
When I talk about Detroit and I talk about like changes, I think that's one thing that I think we need to sometimes think about is that so much of the interest in Detroit is from around the country. It's like truly a national interest in this city, which is wild, especially someone who's been here since, you and I were talking off air. My first assignment in Detroit was covering the Hudson's demolition.
Wow.
So it's like, we've both been around a minute. It's a wild thing to see.
It is, and it's very exciting. And that's one really cool thing about being on the show, that on social media, people, or when I meet people in person, they'll say, the reason I'm visiting here is because I've seen the show, or like the show, of course, shows us, with the guys doing renovations and me selling the homes, but we do little fun field trips and people get to see more of the city, and that Detroit is cool.
What is the interaction like when you're doing these houses that are all over in different neighborhoods? Like, how does that process go behind the scenes of like picking the house and then, kind of shepherding it through the process? Because what it seems like to me is occasionally you're surprised, but also seems like you're involved in the process of like from beginning to end of like, all right, this is a place that we think we could do something with, and then getting it out the door.
So what has been helpful is, the show is called Bargain Block. So in most cases, the guys purchase homes on the same block or within the same vicinity. So one benefit is if we can create a really strong market where we have strong comps that we've created ourselves, it helps because we've had some troubles when it comes to appraisals. And, Detroit is a fickle place where you can, from alley to alley, a house can be valued at $500,000, and right behind it, a house can be $10,000. So
why don't we walk through that for listeners who may not know why that is and how that works?
And in the city of Detroit, the values are dramatically different from neighborhood to neighborhood. Yeah. And so, as a buyer, the lender is not going to lend the buyer more than the house is valued, right? And so if the guys renovate this beautiful home, we have a buyer willing to pay $180,000 for it, and then the appraisal comes back at $150,000. What do, right? And it's not fair because the buyer is qualified. The buyer wants to pay $180,000. The buyer should determine the value at $180,000, and it's not fair for the guys because they probably spent $130,000 making all the renovations, and they need to stay in business, right? So I've submitted and fought my fair share of appraisal rebuttals, fighting for value left and right. And I could say more recently, it seems to have gotten a lot better, but in the city of Detroit, the struggle is real. I never have this issue in the suburbs, never, ever. And like I said, I've been selling homes for many years from as far as here, downtown Detroit to Traverse City, which is way, way up north. So yeah, it's been an interesting ride and roller coaster. That's not always fun.
Well, you can tell it. And sometimes you talk about that in the show, which is what I really appreciate. Whether, like, I remember there was some issue with some sewers or something, and you all talked about it.
Exactly.
Because that's real doing this work.
It is real, especially in older neighborhoods. You got to think if a home has been sitting forever, the pipelines run into the streets to the sewer line that's overgrown. So that's an extra expense that they may not foresee, but they have to take care of it or address it before that buyer closes. So as you can imagine, a home like the homes that the guys renovate come with a lot of surprises.
Looking forward, what do you think, from your perspective where you sit, what are a couple of things that Detroit, like, we should focus on going forward, like things we should do or things we should think about to keep raising those values and because the homes that you've been working with, at least on the show, I know you work in a variety of homes.
Yes.
But you're getting homes in the hands of people like, 150, 180. That's not a crazy price for a home
It's super affordable.
It's super affordable. So what are a couple of things that we could think about to help encourage even more of that?
I would say as just friends or family members, when or anyone close to you that's paying rent. Nowadays, renting is so high that you can just remind that person, even if you're afraid to start buying a home next month, let's just get the process started. Let's see what you need to do as far as credit, as far as savings. And look, next summer, you can be in your own home paying a third of what you're paying in rent for something that you own and creating generational wealth for yourself and your family. And I feel like that is very important. And to just be supportive and just knock out the fear of the responsibility of homeownership, because you're going to have to fix things and make repairs, but it's not going to happen all on the same day. You're not going to need to replace your windows and your roof and hot water tank all on Tuesday.
Unless you're Keith and Evan.
Unless you're Keith and Evan. But I'm and then that's what warranty insurance is for, or special programs that we have local through our energy companies where you can pay monthly fees and they'll come out and repair your refrigerator or your furnace. There's things that can make the process easier. And I always feel like it's so important, especially for my first-time buyers, to just remind them to call or text me if you need anything. And there's no silly or stupid question. If you don't understand, that's what I'm here for, to walk you through. And I know it's super intimidating, but yeah, home ownership is the bee's knees.
So we've both been city residents for a long time.
Yes.
What is the biggest thing that you've seen change since the beginning of your career versus now?
I would say that there are more home buyers. There are more African American people that are purchasing homes, which is amazing. There are more young families purchasing homes, because the west side of Detroit, there's a lot of young families.
There's also a lot of starter homes on
there are.
Just the way the city's laid out, I'm a big fan of that inner Grand Belt area, I call it the old city. It's not really called that, but the old city where, it was before it expanded in the 20s and the 30s. You go out to the west side, there's a lot of great starter homes.
There, and then you got to think, especially if a home has been renovated at that price point where it's anywhere from $100 to $160. At that point, you can finance that home for anywhere from $600 to $800 a month, and instead of renting from a slumlord for $1,500 a month, it's just better to buy. And I feel like a lot of first-time buyers are realizing that, which is amazing.
For me, as much of all the different stories that we cover, and there's big, tall buildings and all that other stuff, I was so happy at the end of my street, there's this little nugget of a house that's been kind of shack-like for a while. But a new roof went on it yesterday, a new little front porch is out there. They're putting gutters on the garage. That is the signs. Or when I see Tyvek is one of the most positive signs about Detroit. When I go down the street, when I go down, Grand Boulevard or something else, and I see Tyvek out there, that is the sign of Detroit's comeback, even more so to me than the downtown buildings. The downtown buildings are great, but when I see that Tyvek, when I see those neighborhood houses, that's when I feel good about the city.
I agree. And there's something about it. And and another thing is home renovations is contagious. We go into these neighborhoods and you see homeowners that have been living there forever. Let me, take care of my curb appeal or fix up my house too. Or they'll even come over and ask for tips. What can I do to make my house better? So it's exciting. It brings a lot of joy my way. The guys enjoy it too.
So a couple of things before we go. First off, regardless of the show, because this is the last season,
yes,
you're going to be around. So how do people find you?
Yes. So you can reach out to me via email at Shea, SHEA, at Homes, HOMES, Sold, SOLD, by Shea, SHEY. I'm sorry, SHEA.
Names. They're hard. I know.
Shea at Home Sold by Shea. Or you can text me at 313-471-4023. And I'm on Instagram. It's Shea, SHEA, Whitfield, WHITFIELD.
And that final season starts this week, right?
This week, Wednesday, August 20th at 9 p.m. On HGTV, set your DVRs. You can catch us the next day on Max or Discovery Plus.
Any hints?
We're going to London.
All right.
Yes, we're going to London, and my cute little Bo James makes an appearance on this episode.
Aww,
it's so cute.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Shea Whitfield, it is an honor and a pleasure. Thank you so much for stopping by our studio.
This has been so fun. I'll be back tomorrow.
There's a seat for you over there. We'll put a desk up. Tech Town is a wonderful place.
I love it.
If you like what you heard, make sure to follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, Pocket Cast, or wherever you get your shows. We would love to have you as part of our community. Feedback, as always, dailydetroit@gmail.com or 313-789-3211. Until tomorrow, I'm Jer Stays. Remember that you are somebody, and we'll see you around Detroit.